it's Mega, aka the Art Messiah, here to save you from your art sins. Today is day 11 of the 30 days of making comics. Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about how to start a story. So first impressions, like in real life, are everything when it comes to also telling a story. You want people to be hooked and to be drawn into your world, your story, and your characters almost as immediately as they pick up your book or your comic or your webcomic. So we're going to be talking today about the essential things you need to think about when you're about to begin your story and how to write a perfect beginning. Okay, so jumping right into this, the step one of creating your story and your beginning for your story is to determine what kind of comic you're going to be creating. Is it going to be a mystery comic? Is your theme more about action adventure, comedy? Think about what is the main objective of your story and what is kind of like the genre of your story. Okay, so once you have an idea of what your story is about and what it's going to head to, then your story and your story beginning should really mirror that. So your story beginning is a pilot for people to be able to understand what they will be getting into and to start building their expectations. So for example, if your story is about, let's say, like a mystery or a murder mystery, then you may want to start the story off with a murder. Okay, say your comic is about a racing champion, then maybe you start the story off with a race. So the very first scenes are going to set the pace and the expectations for what the reader is going to expect for your comic. So my story is about young individuals that are engineers and mechanics. So what I chose to represent, and I'm working on the rework now, what I chose is an element, a race of a design and technology that includes engineering and being a mechanic. So I want to show people that this story is going to be a story about technology and excitement. So that is your second step of creating your first scene, is basically mirror what it is that you want the content of the story to be. Okay. Now this next step is also very important, and in my previous video I was reviewing some webcomics and I noticed that this was not a strong suit of a lot of artists, is that in the very beginning of the story you want to show where the characters are located and start to develop the setting in which your story is going to take place. Now the kind of caveat, or maybe where you don't want to apply this advice, is if your story is like a mystery and you really want to slowly reveal the world, then you might not want to give the reader too much information. But be very conscious about how much information you're giving the reader, and make sure you're giving them enough information to be interested in your story. Your setting should be unique. Well, not necessarily unique, but it should be well defined so that a reader can know a little bit more about what your story is going to be about. And the last step, and the last thing to think about when you are starting a story, is you want to show what the conflict is going to be. What is the storm on the horizon? What will be the conflict or the problem that the character is going to have to accomplish or push past? Okay, so make sure you really define that really well. So those are all my tips for today's video. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly wrap this up. If you like it, subscribe, and I'll be back with more content real soon. So peace. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next video.